Hiya, welcome. Uh, so, um, Thanks for joining. Um, so, uh, it's been a beautiful number of days here in Madison. Really incredible, really wonderful, and not even a lot of bugs. It's kind of amazing, actually. Uh, so, I wanted to ask you, Todd, though, if you don't mind, what what have what's the population of butterflies been like around here? It seems to me I haven't seen very many. Is it up or down or normal?
It's definitely down.
Hmm.
I've been on 3 butterfly surveys recently, and all of them had many fewer numbers of butterflies.
Hmm.
Kind of the regular mix of species, but just many fewer individuals.
Hmm. And why do you suppose that is?
Um, some have suggested it's a legacy of last year's drought that we might still be feeling, poor reproduction last year, and then just the crazy weather. We're having all those violent rains, maybe hard on little caterpillars that turn on and turn into butterflies.
Hmm.
I don't know that anybody really knows, but
Hmm.
definitely definitely fewer numbers of butterflies.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought just by looking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Uh, so so tonight we'll do our usual thing. We're going to focus on well, for lack of a better name, is the geometric term is the torus, Torus. And so this is like how do you describe it? It goes like this. It's kind of like a donut, but it's expanded up. And so do you have a better way, Todd?
Donut is exactly it for
Okay,
me.
but yeah, but when in terms of the human body, it would be elongated. So it's like a fountain, maybe like a
Yeah.
fountain going up and then coming down around, or like an old bubbler. Do you remember bubblers? Yeah, so kind of like that.
Like a
Where,
donut fountain.
huh?
A donut fountain.
Yeah, a donut fountain. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and this is a natural movement, like in weather. This is what a um, like a low pressure system does that, and you can see the clouds kind of bubbling up, and if you boil water, the bubbles will do that. They'll rise up the middle and then spread on the top and go down the edges. So, and it's actually too, if you have a bar magnet, the magnetic field looks like that too. So it's a naturally occurring form. But in Qigong, it's a form of movement or a form of energy, very much like a fountain. So the donut isn't moving. It's just there waiting for you to eat it. But the fountain is moving in a direction. Okay, so and it's water moving in a direction. And in Qigong, it's qi moving in a direction. So what that means is our attention is moving through the body in that direction, either from the ground up and then out, like tree in spring, or like tree in autumn, where it comes out and then goes down. And these are two really fundamental movements in the universe and in our practice, because the tree in spring it's moving upward. So the energy is moving from dense to fine, or from concentrated to dispersed, and then coming back again. And then if it's moving the other way, if it's moving downward, the energy is starting out very fine, like light, and it's getting more and more and more dense as it goes down into materiality. So what they would say in Buddhist practice, I think, is the the practice is to be grounded, to be very stable and grounded. And that's this kind of energy going downwards tends to make us heavy and stable like a mountain. But then there's the energy that goes upward, which is insight or inspiration, the moving into boundlessness. So we can invoke these different directions of energy or different movements depending on what we need. So if we're feeling sluggish, we might want to do upward. Or if we're feeling too jazzed and too excited and not grounded, we're going to want to do practices that bring us down. And then, of course, the intention then is to keep them balanced. Because if you're too grounded, then you get stuck. But if you're too inspired, then you become frantic and ungrounded. Okay, that makes sense so far. So I'm describing sort of mental states, emotions, or how we feel, but I'm describing it in terms of the body and of the energy in the body, and how we can cultivate or balance those sorts of energies in the body. And just me personally, this whole thing with Biden dropping out and Kamala coming in, I feel very plugged into this vast rising energy, not just in me, but in millions of people and everybody I know. And that's great. But what I need to do when that gets to be too intense is to ground that, so that I'm not carried off, by it, and staying grounded. Okay. Whereas before, I was so grounded, I was depressed, so I needed more inspiration. So I was doing this kind of thing. So, okay, I think that's enough talking about it, but you sort of get the idea. And I'm sure that there are millions of people who are feeling the opposite from me, people who were certain that Biden was going to be the candidate and Trump was going to win, and they're feeling the opposite. So, but they're not in our Qigong class, so we're not going to be too concerned about it. Okay, all right, let's get started. Okay, so we can focus on this just at the very beginning. So if right now, if a person is going to practice Qigong for a while, how are they coming into the practice? So if my mind's been really agitated and busy, I'm going to want to stand, right? And if I've been run down or tired or something, I'm going to want to do this. So you just sort of want to check out at the very beginning, like, where are you coming from? How are you feeling right now? And what do you need to be in balance? And maybe you're in balance, to begin with, which is great. Okay. So if you're not sure, or if it's one or the other, standing mountain is a trembling mountain is a really great way to start, because we're very grounded and we're very rooted. But at the same time, we're letting go of any tension, anything that we need to let go of. So this is in some lineages of Qigong, they always start with this, and I can see why. It's kind of universal. Okay. So this is the body movement. And now we want to bring our attention, while doing the movement, we want to bring our attention to the breath. So the breath is being a little jerky, but beneath that, there is the natural rhythm of the breath, and that's what we want to tune into. And usually the mind is quite overwhelmed in this movement by all the input that's coming in. So usually the mind isn't very busy. If you're still like thinking of things, then do this with more intensity. But usually this will just kind of calm the mind if you focus on the sensations in the body and the breath. And then you can just let go of controlling the speed or intensity, and just sort of let the body do that. In this one, it's fine to breathe out the mouth if you want to. I mean, usually we don't. Okay, and then when you do this by yourself, then before you, well, you can just sort of slow down and gradually stop if you want to. But it's the way it's been taught to me is to increase the intensity when you're getting near the end. Kind of really get into it. And then let's all stop together. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and it's a good idea to just establish mentally with your visualization, and physically with aligning the body, that vertical laser beam from the earth up through the body and up into the universe. Just sort of bring that to mind, and then feel it in the body. And you can expand it if you like to like a big tube, big column, which is that's useful too. Uh, it's the same feeling of being upright. And then extend that line or column down into the ground. So feel it down there. let it spread out. And then with an in-breath, bring the attention up through the body. And then with an out-breath, extend it up. So this is the center of the torus. This is the column, the empty column in the center of the torus. And if you use your imagination, you go way up. You can sort of look down that, and that goes, that emptiness that goes through the body and into the earth. Okay. Okay, good. Now, a Qigong movement, so this touching heaven, touching earth, but this is a little bit different. So starting with palms at the belly, okay, and so uh, in breath, switch the palms, out breath, and then switch the palms, in breath, out breath, in breath, get to the top and the bottom, and then flip the hands. Then they pass each other. Flip. And then you can sink down, use your knees if you like, sink down, stand up. Let's just do a couple more. Okay, good. So now we'll do the 3 breaths. So the first breath, in breath, just up to the lower dantian. Pause. Next in breath. Pause. Next in breath. Pause. Now with the out breath. Down. Pause. Down. Pause. Down. In breath to the belly. Pause. In breath. Up. Pause. Breath. Out breath. Pause. Down. Okay, so this is breathing to the dantians. So the lower dantian, middle dantian, and the upper dantian and beyond. And then reverse. So the one that goes up, this is lifting the heavy energy. It gets lighter. It gets very light. Becomes one with the light of the stars. And then we'll bring down the light. So then it gets heavier, becomes the breath, and then down into the body, and then down to the earth. So you see this, so this movement is balancing. It's balancing this upward uh, energy that moves up into the spirituality, and then it's balancing that with this downward energy that moves down into groundedness. Let's do one more. Okay, very good. Now let's go into the backwash and then tree and spring. So keeping in mind that the backwash is moving downward, so we're starting at the top of the head and moving our attention down the spine and down the whole body. And then we touch the earth and extend down into the earth. And now we're moving it up and then pointing, and we're moving it up the body now. And then extending it out. And then this is the torus right here. So this is bringing it up the sort of this empty column, the middle, empty all the way up, and then like a fountain, then it comes down all around, front, back, side to side, all the way down. So one more. So this is primarily the energy of inspiration or refining the chi, but it also, of course, it has to come down. It has to make the full circle. And then backwash again. So this is moving down. Okay, and then moving up. Right, and just to feel this now, let's do tree and autumn. So this is in breath, and then we're reaching up, looking up, and bringing down through that central empty column, down through the torus, bringing down that light. And as it comes down, it becomes more dense. So the light becomes breath, then it becomes liquid, then it becomes solid and heavy, then it goes down into the ground. Okay. And so in breath, up again. So we're gathering this movement, tree in autumn, we're gathering this and bringing this down through the body. One more. So at the top, you want to like collect, the sunlight or moonlight. You want to sort of collect this light, and you're bringing it down. It's going through the whole body, and then heavier as it goes down, and then connects down with earth. So it's quite a different feeling. So see how you feel now. And let's do two tree and spring. So just using the visualization, bringing this attention up and out, 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 way, way, way up. All around. And then once more. So this is the fountain. Then let's just do standing. Okay, now just to finish, let's do two tree and autumn and see how that is, right? So we're going to start with the palms up. We're going to bring this down, 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 down. And one more. Okay. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and break our stance. Just sort of loosen up a little bit here. Let's roll our shoulders and loosen. We've been doing repetitive movements, so it's good to just loosen up a little. And we've also been doing very much up and down. So let's go ahead and balance that with this. So this breathing through the middle dantian. So we're opening all this up and then settling. And so the visualization of this is it's 360. Our arms are going out to the sides, but we're expressing this all around the body, behind the body, all around. And if you remember last week, so you can experiment with breathing either way. So it can be in breath here or out breath. And if you're not really paying attention, go ahead and try the other way. Then you'll pay more attention. So you notice if there's a natural way to breathe here. But if that just becomes too habitual, then reverse it. With any of these movements, do it differently, and now you'll pay more attention to it. It'll be more effective. And the way to switch is just hold the posture for a beat. And then when you continue, then you'll be breathing the opposite way. Okay, very good. Okay. Now the ancient Qigong for doing this next part is one of the 8 brocades. The way we usually do it with rocking the pelvis, and that's from Trisha Yu, and that's sort of very modern physical therapy. But let's do the old way. So you place your hands here on the inguinal crease, and then put them on your sides. And then what we'll do here is we'll bend over frontward, stick the butt out, and then push the hips into a circle, and then the other way. So we're circling the whole upper body. If this causes you pain, of course, don't do it. Now, the ancients said if you did the 8 brocades every day, you'd live to be 120. So I don't know, maybe. And then you can do this more deeply or more shallowly if you want to spread your feet and bend more. You can do it much more exaggeratedly, or you can do it more subtly. The main thing is to move the hips. All right, good. And then let's do crane walks the riverbank. It's more fun. And it also brings in the arm. So we're going to lift left arm and right leg, and then switch. Again, this is the Qigong for balancing on one foot. And what Trisha taught was the physical therapy for doing that. This is more demanding, of course, but it's also, I think, more beautiful. Crane walks the riverbank. If you live in Madison, you probably noticed that the cranes have taken up residence in a lot of neighborhoods. We see cranes almost every day. So probably if you walked up to them like this, they might accept you. I haven't tried it. Now, to make this more effective, you could stand on one foot. And if you want to leave your toe down touching, that's fine. You're still going to have all your weight there. So. And you want to still keep that vertical line, that torus, you want to keep that in mind as you're doing this, so you don't, the tendency is to lean. Okay. Patricia was teaching non-Qigong people. She was teaching people in all kinds of settings. So crane walks the riverbank would have been a little too out there. So she just would do playing the piano and then shift your weight. So it was kind of an exercise, but I prefer the crane myself. Okay. So in addition to this up and down, this torus that we've started working with, and just to make this clear, so there's also, in addition to that, there's all the side to side, front to back, there's all of those movements. So we want to balance, to some extent, we want to balance this focus on verticality uh, with some side to side. So, any of these, let's do diagonal flying. It starts out like cloud hands. And so turn in the direction of the upper hand and sink, and then send it out diagonally and both hands go out. And then as you come back, oops, send it out. And then as you come back, you reverse the hands so that you're going to send the lower hand out. There's a rhythm to this. And there's a winding up motion with the hips and a sinking of the weight. I don't know why it's called diagonal flying, but it's a Tai Chi, it's a martial arts movement. So this is a strike and a block is what is a lot of power. So the lower hand's a block, the upper hand is a strike, but it's called diagonal flying. Okay, let's do one more on each side. Okay, very good, very good. And now front to back. So let's do boat rowing in the stream of air. So sitting down. Now this one, you're naturally going to breathe. You're going to be an out breath when you bend and an in breath when you open up. Bending actually pushes the air out. Nevertheless, you can do it opposite. without any trouble at all. And you notice this focuses your attention more? Okay, let's do a couple more. Okay, very good. Let's break our stance. Loosen up a little bit. All right, so we focused on this upward energy, we focused on the downward, and we've done this side to side, and we've done front and back. And if while you're standing here, if you just remember briefly doing those, each of those, with the breath, you can bring in the whole, all the directions, the 10 directions. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and bring up our stool. And so reestablishing that vertical column, so it goes from the center of the earth up through the perineum and up through the whole body, out the top of the head. And also through the feet. But the feet aren't in alignment with the perineum anymore. So this is where the column, sort of a column of light or energy, might be more useful to visualize the body sitting in the middle of this whole column. They're expanding that laser beam into something bigger, something energetic and diffuse. And that's actually a better approximation of what the body is. The body has all this mass, front to back, side to side, and all these cells, all this life force energy within it. So we're just extending this awareness of the body, the feeling, the tingling, the warmth, and so on. We're extending that way down into the earth. So the earth is part of the body, not separate. And then extending that way, way, way up, and it gets finer and finer. And the universe is part of the body, it's not separate from the body. So it's all different densities. So we have this verticality, but we also have all around. So the boundaries of the body become porous. And then we can breathe in through the pores of the skin and out. And you can practice reverse breathing here too. So when you breathe in, you imagine the light going out. When you breathe out, you imagine the light rushing in. In and out is happening at the same time. And then we transfer our awareness to that expanded energy. We're not sitting in this body imagining this energy around. We are the awareness all around the body, as well as the body. Okay, and this awareness, this light all around the body extends. It's very big. The body is just dense in the middle, and it becomes more and more diffuse, but it's all awareness. And a little smile is appropriate. If you want to go to the next step, it's boundlessness. It's infinite space. So you're kind of in the center of this boundless space. No matter which way you go, it's boundless. And so the body is just more dense, but it's the same. So the body is held up vertically, and the mind is boundless. But there's no differentiation. It's uh, just gradual varying density. So it's not an out-of-body experience. It's just an expansion of the definition of the body. Okay, let's take a few more breaths. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and clap one time and massage whatever needs to be massaged on your face and head. And then tapping the kidneys. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really value your presence and thank you for your practice. And may you be well. And if you'd like to stay, I'll be here for a little bit.
Everybody, thanks.
Okay.